In this video, I'm going to show you everything that I do to ensure my propagations are a success every time. If you're new here, my name is Leah. I used to lose every propagation to root rot, so I figured out a foolproof way to guarantee success. So first, the most important thing is knowing when it's time to pot them up. If you pot your propagations up too soon, you risk them rotting. And if you pot them up way too late, you risk them rotting. So, for example, I have this little anthurium that I've been trying to rehab and save. And it has, you can see, a little root. This is very exciting. This means it's a great time to transition it to soil. So you either want active growth or at least like 1 inch of roots. I have 2 of these little baby anthuriums, so I'm going to be potting both of them up into these little, I don't know, maybe 3-inch containers. I'm going to pull this out. So here's our little, here's our little baby root system. Clean the roots. And you want a pot that's like, you don't want it to be too much bigger than the actual root system. So you want it like, at the most, like 1 inch bigger than the actual root system. This is a little big, but it's actively growing, so I'm happy about that, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the transfer. I have a chunky soil mix. I'm gonna throw some in there. A little more. And then this is the secret ingredient, okay? Beneficial fungi. So you're gonna take this beneficial fungi and sprinkle it around the root system, in the soil. Okay, most important thing. I have found absolute success with that. Then just fill it the rest of the way in. Squish. And this is the same system you'll use if it's a water propagation as well. Just gonna do a touch more soil. There. Oh, here's your new propagation all potted up. And then the last thing that you need to know for this is aftercare. You need to water it through immediately just to help the plant settle into its new home. I actually like to water it in with this. It's Super Thrive. You see? super thrive. So the first time I ever water a propagation, once it's out of the whatever it was propagating in, I do a drop of this in some water and I'll water it through like that. You don't want to add fertilizer immediately just because the roots are really weak. The roots are really weak at this point. You don't want to shock the roots. You're already doing a major transition from whatever your propagation substrate was to this new substrate. And so I like to wait like a month. Sometimes if you see that the plant is actively growing, or you check and you see roots along the little planter, then you're fine. You're good to go, honestly, to start fertilizing. And the other most important thing is to watch for root growth. If it's been a while and you don't see any new roots, then there might be something wrong depending on how big you went up. This, I went up kind of big, so I might not see the roots for a while. Yeah, you just want to keep your eye on the roots and closely monitor this. And then you also don't really need to keep the soil super moist. You'll see people say that a lot, like keep the soil wet to help it transition. If you give it a really good watering right when you first plant it, just keep an eye on the roots. That's like the main moral of the story. But you don't want, it might be okay if it dries out in between waterings. But if you're concerned and you do want to keep the soil wetter, if like, let's say it was a water propagation, then you are totally okay to keep it wetter, keep it moist. Just don't do it longer than 2 weeks, I would say. And just like do some water, let it dry for a couple days, and then do some more water. Don't like every day drown it in water, right? So as a quick little recap for everything that I shared, number 1, wait until you see at least an inch of root growth before you pot up your propagation. And then number 2, make sure you're choosing the right size. Pot it up, use a nice chunky soil mix. Make sure you're choosing the right size pot to put the baby plant in, and use that beneficial fungi. It really helps stimulate the roots and provide nutrients, and it's just overall has been the biggest game changer for me. And then number 3, aftercare, water it right away, and then just really observe the roots. Keep an eye on it. Don't fertilize right away. And give it lots of light as well. If you like this video, you're gonna love the one that I posted right here, where I show you how to cut up a plant and prepare it for propagation. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much for being here, and happy propagating.